are mixing a sound, what is the most long to take? The drums?
The drums. I don't give a fuck about nothing else. You hear me? Nothing, bro. Nothing. I don't care.
It's all about the drums.
The drums, bro. Don't fuck up the drums. You can do everything but fuck up. Just don't fuck up the drums.
So on to the intro. Ow! Ow. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chu, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips that are going to make your drum programming amazing. I'm pretty sure that's all I have for the intro. I'll let you know if I forgot anything somewhere throughout the video. This video is not an ad, so if you see me using anything like a drum sample or a mixer preset, it can be found in the description below. There's also free kits down there somewhere, so definitely check that out as well. Let me know if you do have any questions down below, anything that I didn't cover, or just anything about life in general. Talk to me. But otherwise, kick back, relax, and vibe out. Okay, so my first tip, first of all, you want to get good at like just programming the traditional bounce and kind of like locking that in. So we'll do that, and then what we'll do is we'll go over like some ways that you can kind of make it your own and kind of be like unique with it. So I'm just like looking for some sounds to start with. So like some typical things are going to be like a snare or clap for your main sound. Like 808, you'll probably want to grab that too. Kick, you know, pretty standard stuff. Hi-hat, open hat, some perks if you want to. That. I don't want that too. Turn off loop points, bro. Always turn off loop points, bro. Loop points suck. All right, cool. So the traditional bounce pretty much goes like this. Beat is playing. You find that three beat. So it's like if you turn on the metronome, you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. On that 3, that's where you want to program the snare. Pretty intuitive stuff. But if you're new to like trap production, R&B, hip hop, things of that nature, pop, that's how you can count it, and that's how you can kind of keep beats with drum programming and syncopation and things of that nature. So just duplicate that over using Control B or Command plus B if you're using a MacBook, which is superior. And there you go. Now, of course, if you were doing something like drill, you know, it would be a little bit different. And if you were doing super trap, like your snare programming would be completely different, right? Right, but like we're kind of doing a specific kind of thing, and I hope that's also intuitive today, and we can do different kinds of drum programming videos in the future, and maybe we'll do different kinds of cookups in those vibes, which is kind of what I'm doing with those types of tutorials and videos. But feel free to let me know down below if you would like maybe like a part 2 where we talk about genre specifics or something like that. That being said, from here, I like to go to my open hat and kind of just give it a 4 on the floor type of programming to start. Maybe not 4 on the floor so much, but like a pretty consistent, just like every 2 beats type of programming, just to hear how it sounds to start. And I'll leave it like that just so I can hear like pockets and stuff like that. And I like to give my open hats like swing too. I'm gonna route some of these to the mixer real quick. And then from there, it's pretty simple in terms of the hi-hat. I'll either program a 4-step pattern, so like this, or I'll do a 2-step, which is probably what I'm feeling right now, because my open hat is already kind of doing a 4-step, so I'm already fucking with that. Yeah. And with your arrangement, you can switch back and forth, and when you get into actually programming the hi-hat, which we'll do in a moment, like you can get real intricate with it, but this is really just about establishing that like fundamental bounce right at the start, which if you do watch the longer videos, you'll see like I pretty much do that every time. Like I'll like program like a pretty basic bounce and then tweak it from there, which like, to be real with you, if you have a dope melody or if you made a dope melody, like you really don't have to go that crazy with the programming unless like the beat called for like a specific type of like crazy programming, which like, you know, when you're supposed to get crazy like that, and we will talk about ways to do that in this video. But like, you know, like using your taste and being able to know like when it's okay to lock in with that simple bounce and when you have to add more stuff to it, and knowing how to add more stuff to it tastefully is such an important thing. And like knowing how to lock in with this simple bounce right at the start very, very important. So that's what you have so far. And like kind of following the theme of that simple bounce leads us to the 808, which is kind of the second tip that I have for you. And I noticed that Cardo had this crazy bounce when he did Hood by Air for Playboy Cardi, right? And so tip number 2 I have for you is to follow this Hood by Air bounce that he did, which is crazy. So all credits, all flowers to Cardo for he's one of the coldest drum programmers, bro. Like I have to give him his credit. I've been hip since like I started producing. He was the guy that like influenced my programming a lot, I won't lie. That's why I was always using the cowbell for the people who are wondering, like he's just cold with it. So shout out to him for coming up with that dope bounce, but like he just locked it in. And like that's what I recommend, even if you don't want to use this specific bounce as like the template for your starting point, find something that's like a dope template for you to start with every time and then kind of break it down from there. And of course, you do not have to use it every single time, but it's like having these ideas that you can work off of consistently just make you so much better as a beat maker. And then what you do is you build like a toolbox of them by then going out and studying music. You grab a few of them from like Cardo, right? Then you grab a few of them from Metro. Then you grab a few of them from K Tronada. Then you grab some from Monty Booker. Then you grab some from Pharrell. Then all of a sudden you got this like stacked toolbox of like drum patterns and stuff. And then you start to like get intricate with the ways you tweak them. And then now all of a sudden you have like ways that you've kind of made them your own. And that's kind of like the progression of how this works basically. All right, so now for the Hood by Air bounce, bro. So this mug is so clean, bro. Look at this. So yes, if you make it like a beat and a half long, the 808 note, and then you duplicate it over all the way to the end for 2 beats and then cut it when it gets to 2 beats, then you just duplicate it over for 4. And that's it right there. All right, so let me turn on the 808 now. Bro, that mug is riding, bro. And so like if it's too much 808 or if it seems like too much 808 or if it's too much 808 for like the specific type of beat that you're working on or for like the genre that you're in, like it just depends on the vibe that you're going for. Like less 808 low key is better a lot of the times. Then you can kind of like pull out certain spots, and we'll kind of get to how we can situate things once we get away from programming this fundamental bounce, but that's how you can just lock that in. And kind of moving off of that 808, it brings us to tip number 3, which is to lay down your kick by following the 808. Now I lay down my kick in a specific way based off of that rule, but first let me just go find a kick. And this does give me an opportunity to say that like I really do recommend just like finding a high quality edit of the rat kick, which you can find in basically any kit, free or paid, from a producer that does trap, drill, R&B, like pop music. Like just get a rat kick anywhere, bro. Grab that mug and just use it, bro. It's like one of the best kicks. I cannot explain why. Do you even care why? Like the nerdy explanation does not matter. I could give you one, but do you really care? No, just trust me. I tested it. I studied it. Like the rat kick goes crazy. I've been looking for an opportunity to say that. I'm gonna probably clip it and put it in a lot of shorts. The rat kick goes absolutely crazy. Just use that mug, especially if you want like a clean mix, bro. You cannot go wrong with the rat kick. And when you sidechain that hoe, which we will talk about, like again, the rat kick the transient is so perfect, bro. Man, it's clean. Use any kick you want, but like rat kick, especially with a spins edit or a spins 808, like a pure spins or a spins edit, bro, you cannot go wrong, brother. You cannot go wrong, brother. If it's already 808 though, I will recommend more so like a Wonder Girl kick. I won't lie to you, something like this. So if you were using an 808 like this, something like that, or if you were using something like this, right? I would recommend a kick that's a little bit heavier. That's kind of just my own taste, but it also takes like kind of understanding sound selection over time to like understand why you would want to do it in that way. But like that's what I would recommend if you were going for more of those types of 808s. But like specifically with that spins 808 that's got that punchy like transient right at the beginning, rat kick just complements it perfectly. Enough yap about that hoe. Here's how you program it though. So you want to just follow that bounce that you've established with your 808. So if you programmed the bounce that I recommended in the last tip, you would be doing something like this. Now here's where my little caveat comes in. I noticed that a lot of kick can really be fatiguing specifically. Like a lot of any kind of instrument can be very fatiguing, but a lot of kick, brother, is fatiguing as fuck. So what I've kind of grown to do as a result of that is to just kind of like only use the kick, or for the most part, it's not like a hard and fast rule written in stone, but like for the most part, I'll use the kick like in the first bar of like a 2-bar sequence. So it ends up being something like this basically, so that it doesn't get too fatiguing, right? Right, and then I might find like every once in a while I might find like another spot, or when I come back to kind of tweak the patterns over time, I might like come back and tweak it. But like really it's pretty much this, honestly, and it does stay pretty consistent. Like just first bar, let the 808 breathe. If there's more 808, just let it keep going. That's harder. That's actually harder. But it makes me want to go down. So like 1, 2, 3, and then up 1, and then bring this down 3. I think that. Fingers crossed. Excellent. Okay, so now we can segue into step 4, or tip number 4, which is to start adding stutters. Now, like, you could do anything to get creative with your drum programming, and maybe like using glitches and stutters isn't like the most creative way to describe what I'm trying to talk about here, but it's to basically come and add more intricacy, like, and little points of like nuance to your drum programming. And I do that with stutters. So you could basically do it with anything, and you'll probably see me do it in a couple of other ways besides adding glitches and stutters. Another way that I actually do it a lot is just pulling out certain things, like just leaving space, right? So it could be like add stutters, but it could also be like leaving space. So for like tip number 4, we could just be like the rule of S: stutters, space, syncopation, and what's the other word? I don't know, like another word that is synonymous with things being in sync with each other. Synchronicity, bro? I don't know, bro. Let me know like if you know like the word that I'm trying to think of. I kind of want to look it up now. I'm not gonna lie to you. What's the word that I'm trying to think of? Synchronicity, bro. Didn't I already say that? No, it's not synchronicity. What's a word that's synonymous with synchronicity? Synonym for synchronicity. I think I meant synchronize, bro. I think I just meant synchronize. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. Tip number 4, stutters, spacing, synchronization, syncopation. Let us move on. Okay, I'm gonna pull out the kick to start, and then I'm gonna work on the 808 actually just a little bit, and I'm gonna start by pulling out spots. I'm not even gonna do stutters first. Actually, not even actually. I think I wanna do something where I change up the bounce entirely. Right? Shit kind of hard, bro. And that makes me want to like actually pull out the 808 just so I can hear like the spacing of all the other instruments real quick. And then I'm gonna come into the hi-hat and adjust that. Just right there. Let's do that. And the way you can do the arpeggiator roll is by hitting Option plus A. That usually is like a note arpeggiator, but if you do it on your drums, brother, it adds this like really cool stutter, which of course you can time manipulate here. And it just gives you some other time manipulation options that you don't get by doing the one that you can do with Command plus U, which you'll probably see me do here in a moment somewhere. So I really like that. and then we can do like one more like right here. Actually, I want to do that. Actually, no. Right here. That shit is hard, brother. And then that makes me want to go to the open hat now and kind of like pick my spots there too, which actually I kind of like the consistency of it. I think I just want to pull it off of like that 3 beat, honestly, and then just kind of have it be like a every one type of beat thing. Wheezy just did that. Well, like a lot of producers do it. Like it's not like a thing that's like to any one producer. It's like a way you can program, kind of like the way you could program a 2-step. But I noticed it like most recently on Wheezy's production on Lil Baby's song. I think the project is called Wham, and then the track is not called Wham. It's Dumb and Dumber, which is featuring Young Thug and Future. This shit goes crazy, bro. Really good song to study drum programming. Cause Wheezy is one of the coldest, and bro, he was in his bag in that track, bro. Really good one to study. I'm gonna add some swing to these hi-hats and like pitch them down a little bit. And like maybe envelope them a little bit. And then I'm gonna tweak this little like repetitive pattern I did a little bit just to give it like more velocity, or like to tweak the velocities to give it like more bounce, basically. Yeah, that'll let it breathe a lot more. Now I'm gonna duplicate this snare or clone it, and then I'm gonna make sure that I take it and route it away from like my big track and my template, which is like, don't worry about all this shit, bro. Don't worry about what's going on here. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about it. It's not important. It's not important. Pretend I'm not even doing any of this. All right, cool. So we should be good. And then I just wanna like turn it down compared to this snare. And then what I'm gonna do is like program like accent snares, and I kinda wanna do some rolls too. I'm hearing some like stutters and cool stuff. Like right there, and then we'll do like another one of those arpeggiator rolls. Okay, and so what I'm gonna do now is like, and this again, this step is a little deceiving. I made it seem too simple, and then I kind of gave a hint that it might be a little bit more complicated with all that rambling and yapping. But this is kind of just where like I start adding my own taste and flavor to the drum programming. So just to kind of explain where I'm going from here, I'm about to keep this snare sort of, but I'm gonna pull it out of all of the main hit points and replace those hit points with claps. So that's pretty much all I have to say. So the rest of it will just be a demonstration of what I just said. And then I'm gonna find like a dope, I don't know what kind of clap, more like chunky or, yeah. All right, now we add in the 808, and we pretty much do the same thing. We find our spots to add spacing, and if we're gonna do stutters, slides, things of that nature, then we'll add them in this spot too. that kick, which honestly, I don't think I'm gonna change very much. But we'll do some side chaining real quick though. Okay, I really locked in for a second. I was having a lot of fun. Tip number 5 is to add perks to make the beat more interesting, to make it your own, and to kind of carry the bounce. So perks just make things more interesting, because like ear candy just is gonna make the beat more interesting to listen to. The caveat there is to just not like add too much stuff, because that's gonna get annoying and fatiguing. You make it your own by adding like perks that are unique to you. So like going way back to Cardo, the cowbell. And again, he didn't invent the cowbell or anything, and like, but like it's like, you know, using things that it's like, oh, I like this and I'm using it because I like it, not because like. And I think like Cardo actually like got grieved a lot for using the cowbell, and now it's like super popular, so that's actually really dope. But like, that being said, like just using perks that you really fuck with, and like keeping in mind that it's to make the beat more interesting. But then also the other thing that I said was to carry the bounce. And I remember TM88 said that in the video where he broke down EXO Tour Life. He was like, you want to actually have your perks be kind of like loud and present and be unique, because they kind of carry the bounce of the beat low key in a way, so you don't want them to be tucked away. And I think he was saying that in reference to when people were asking like, bro, did you sample like a Minecraft door closing? Which like, by the way, I kind of low key don't know if he let us know. Did we ever find out what that sample was? Because that low key was still one of the coldest things in production history. But anyway, like, yeah, just like use interesting sounds. And it, again, it doesn't even have to be anything complicated. Like if you can't think of like anything that's like super novel, then just be like, okay, I'll use a cowbell. That's what I'm doing in this beat. I'm not actually gonna look for like any random like lawnmower cutting grass sounds, or like trying to sample some new shit on my Tascam. It's not like that big a deal at the end of the day. Just like adding perks to have fun, make the beat interesting, make it unique, and make it your own. So I think I already have some pulled up. I know I had the cowbell and the triangle and this cash in perk, so I like to use this just at the beginning of every 8-bar sequence. When I do use it, it's kind of just like a dope hit, which is kind of like a tag for me a little bit. But again, that's like not a super unique sound. Like, listen to it. It's nothing too crazy, but like it's percussive. It kind of carries like rhythm and bounce, and it gives the beat kind of like this character just by it being present. You know, it's a tonality, the actual kind of like the way the sonic symbol makes you think of like a certain type of vibe. And then in the context of the beat, it might give the rapper an idea. It might make the listener feel like a certain way, depending on what context they're listening to it, and just stuff like that. So then getting into programming the cowbell, which is always my favorite when I have one in the beat, bro. Give it some swing. A lot, actually. Honestly, maybe we could do something like this instead. Yeah, that's harder, bro. All right, and let's see if we could find a spot, because like for this triangle, because like the thing is, like I really do feel like at this point of the drum programming is pretty much good. Like I don't actually think adding this triangle is going to do anything for the production. And like if you read the creative act, Rick Rubin will say this a lot throughout the book, just like in various ways, but there's also a specific chapter just on pruning the creative work. I forgot what it's actually called, but this is just my opportunity to plug that you should read the creative act, bro. It's like required reading for like literally anything for life, really, but like specifically if you're gonna do anything like artistic, bro. Like please, like, love yourself and read the creative act, please. But fuck, why was I even talking about, like, why was I talking about that? Oh, okay, right, because like, so that's to say, like, there's no dogma, at least in my production. It might be different from person to person, right? But like for me, like I don't want to ever add stuff to a beat because like I feel like I am supposed to, and I would never recommend that someone do that just for the sake of it. Now, like when you're just starting out, I do actually see how it would be very beneficial to have like a formulaic approach to things. Like even if you're going to become like the best BMX rider ever, like you still have to learn how to fundamentally ride the bike, and there's like a pretty formulaic way to do it. You could go off the wall with learning how to ride a bike, but like there's already a system for it, so like just use that system to learn how to ride the bike. That was actually a fire analogy that I came up with on the spot, but like that's basically what it is. So all that yap is to say that like usually, like, let's just count the layers. Usually when you get to like 8 to 10 drum layers, really like 5 or 6, bro, you're really good. Because you got to think back to the days with the MPC, and I remember I saw this, and I feel like I've like name dropped so many like podcasts that I've watched, but I really just consume a lot of content from producers that I fuck with. But anyway, this one was from Manny Fresh, and he was saying like back in the day they had the MPCs where like, or like the drum machines, MPCs and stuff like that, but even other drum machines where you could only load so many sounds, you could only hit so many buttons, you only had so much bandwidth available, so you had to make like impactful decisions that were influenced a lot by your practiced taste. And so like he said specifically, he was like, bro, it was our challenge to get like 8 to 10 sounds to sound as good as we possibly could. Like we didn't have like this infinite possibility like we have in digital audio workstations now. We were way more limited, and that forced us to be way more creative. And he was saying that to say, not actually as even a criticism, he was saying it to say that he's observing that producers that are getting back to that are actually having a lot of like success in developing like a dope taste, because like that's kind of like parameters actually force you to be creative. Because like we would have to do a whole video. I'll probably do a video essay on that because I'm kind of tired of talking. I want to get back to making the beat, but basically like it's an interesting thing to try to keep in the back of your mind in terms of like guiding concepts for creativity. So let's just count how many drum layers we have so far. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're not using one of them, so it's just 9 so far. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use that triangle, but like let's just test it. Maybe lay it down on the clap. It just already feels fatiguing, honestly, to me. It doesn't seem out of place. See, like, and that's kind of the thing. You gotta really, and this is such an important tip about drum programming, actually, that I didn't even like write down to say, and that like nobody ever taught me, that I wish I could have like learned so specifically. Like I wish someone had just said it. Is like, bro, a big part of it is don't add too much stuff. Because like I swear to God, I used to think like, oh, like the key is like layer them and then add like 9 different types of samples for just the hi-hat. Then you gotta have you gotta have a lot of samples, and you gotta have a lot of like, nah, it's like not even just keep it simple for the sake of keeping it simple or not overthinking it. It's really just like you have to develop taste, bro. That's really, it has nothing to do with all those buzzwords and buzz phrases and like hot words and like nothing like that. It's like taste, which you can't get without like practicing and like studying the game and like the craft, bro. It's like, cause like otherwise, like I would have just a long time ago, even like maybe a year ago, a few months ago, I would have just put the hi-hat, just forced it, or the triangle, right? I would have just forced it because it's like I like it. I already loaded it up, and like I use it a lot in beats I like, and I hear it a lot in beats I like. So I would just force it, not even thinking about like, but does it serve the beat, brother? Does it make the beat better? Does it make the piece better? Will the listener enjoy it? Will I enjoy it listening on playback? Will it fatigue me over time? Will it fatigue the listener? Will it fatigue the artist? It's like taste is like such an important thing to know that you have to develop. It's not even wanting to develop it, because wanting to develop it means you already know you have to, but it's like, if you don't even know taste is important, which is something you have to actually be taught, bro, like you're not gonna do it. And it's like taste, bro. I know this like went kind of metaphysical, like all philosophical from like just a basic drum programming tutorial, but like that's actually the best tip. So sixth tip actually that I could give you is like, bro, taste. Develop your taste by studying music you like. So literally make a playlist of beats you fuck with. I have the rotation playlist. I think it's literally on my channel page that you can listen to, where it's just like, it just has music that I'm listening to on the regular. It's kind of music I study, but it's just a playlist of stuff I really like to listen to. I actually listen to music in like albums, so I never listen to singles, and I don't listen to playlists like that much. I do for specific stuff like workouts sometimes, but even then I like to listen to albums. But then that rotation playlist is just where like I have stuff that if I'm gonna study it, or if I want to like go back and reference it, or if it just like makes me feel like that vibe for the rotation, I'll go listen to it. So you could go study it, but also like do stuff like that, like make a playlist of stuff you could listen to consistently that like inspires you. It like makes you feel something, so that you could like kind of like absorb those creative ideas, because that's how you like gain information to like create from, basically, or like a source material to create from, basically. Because I made a post about that on Threads earlier today that people actually seem to like a lot, so I'll like throw it up on the screen. But like that was basically the thesis of it, of like what I'm saying right now, is like you want to like just like have a good like well of stuff to create from, basically, so that you can make well-informed decisions in your creative work. Because it's like, if you haven't taught yourself how to do that, like you won't know how to. You'll just be doing shit, and it's like that's too much on the technical side and not enough on the taste side. Technicals are important, but like technicals that aren't guided by taste, they're just like just technicals for technical's sake. It's never gonna make as good of music as like taste can on its own, honestly. And as well as like taste plus technicals, because that's really where you get to mastery, is like taste plus like good technicals. Like even if it's technicals you learned like just, you know, like through life, it doesn't have to be classically trained technicals and all that bullshit. And like, oh, I went to like this school to learn audio engineering. It's nothing like that. But like technicals, everyone has technicals. Even like Basquiat, who actually he went to a lot of like art schools and stuff like that, but he was never like formally trained in like the shit that he actually did, because he was like a graffiti artist. But like he knew like color theory, he knew fashion, he just like he knew the technicals in like a more intuitive way, and that's because he was creating consistently and fervently. And it's like you won't get to that point of like doing it like well and doing it in a way that satisfies your soul unless you're like immersed in it. So I feel like that's like a good point to just stop and be like, that's the video, that's the drum programming tutorial. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know if you had any questions down below. I do appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. I just love you. And I'll see you in the next one, whether it's tomorrow or a year from now. I do hope that you'll be kicking up between now and then. Again, I love you so much. Take care. Peace.